Right, we're just going to show you a little bit about commissioning the system. So when we've got to the first turn on stage, everything's done, refrigeration side done, completely bled, everything ready to go, ready to turn power on. So we'll turn the power on and basically the unit will come up and it'll give you some numbers. You'll probably have a lot lower numbers because it will have just, you'll have just filled it up. So first of all, you're going to set the time. Well, that's straightforward. There's a video already showing you how you set the time, but mainly you just press and hold the time button and then just press it again and you can select the hour, press it again, select the minutes, and you can enter it that way. But what I want to show you is about commissioning the system. So basically at this stage nothing's on, okay, there's nothing at all on. You've just got two temperatures and a time now. In order to turn any system on ever, we need to see the shower head on at the top. Now if you've left it a little bit, the lock symbol comes on. Every single time the lock's on, you just take it off. To take it off, press and hold this button for about 5 seconds. That'll disappear. It always stays off unless you stop using the system. And if it ever comes back on, just press and hold, take it off. It's simply to stop people turning buttons accidentally. Okay, so let's presume we've taken the lock off. We now need to actually turn the system into run mode or functioning mode. So you just press and hold that. There you go, bang, it's turned on. In actual fact, this unit isn't set to switch on because I've only got it on a low temperature, but I'll just increase the temperature actually, and then it'll all switch on and start running. There you go. So that's back to something nearer what you're likely to have. So the pump will kick in. The pump always starts before and after the compressor runs. So that's up and running, and then in a minute we're also going to get the other symbol here, which is going to show the compressor is up and running. So what I want to make sure happens every time one of these jobs is commissioned, we should be looking at the system running for at least 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So that's a good time to be doing all your lagging, tidying all your stuff up, everything. So you can get this going, then do all the other jobs around it. Because what I want you to do is take readings every 5 or 10 minutes, which of all the A0. A0 numbers are every sensor around the unit, and what that tells us is how the refrigeration side is working, so the temperature of it going out, coming back, and the heat exchange, and it tells us what the water temperature is doing, so the water leaving the Bunsen and coming back in, and it also tells us what's happening with the electronic valve, because that tells us if that whole side of things is up and running properly. Okay, so because I've left it, the locks come off, I'm going to show you how you record the AO numbers. But first of all, what you need to do is probably do a grid. So on a grid, just write down the numbers. Now the numbers go A0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 9. And then along the top you can preset the time. So basically when we scroll through the numbers, we're just going to fill in each column. So I've started at 9 o'clock, we'll do it again at 10 minutes later, again 10 minutes later, and again at 10 minutes later. And we can see what's going on. So what do these numbers mean? Well, let's have a quick look. So here, so A0 that's the cylinder temperature. So that's the temperature of your sensor in the cylinder. Then we've got A1 is the coil temperature, A2 is the return gas temperature, A3 is the exhaust gas temperature. So we can see the return and the exhaust, and then what the heating capacity is. A4 is just the indoor ambient temperature, tells us the temperature of what, where you've installed the Bunsen, and A5 is the water out temperature. So clearly if we can see what the cylinder temperature is and the water out temperature, we can see what's heating going on. Now those are actually the two numbers that are on the screen. So A0 is the left hand number on the screen, and A5 is the right hand number on the screen. And then last we've got A9, which is the electronic expansion valve. So that, by the very position it puts itself in, gives us a very good indication of whether everything's correct on the refrigeration side. Okay, so that's what these numbers mean. This is how we're going to record them. So we're getting a grid, and we show movement. That's what's happening. We're showing movement, we're showing process every 10 minutes by checking these numbers. So now I'll show you how you check the numbers. Okay, so this one's now kicked in, so the compressor's now running. What we're going to end up with is these numbers will start to equalise because they'll be offset to begin with, but once that pump starts running, it starts equalising the water through that entire system, cylinder and the Bunsen, so they'll equalise. And under normal operating, what we're looking always for the water to come out maybe 2, 3, even up to 4 degrees difference from the water in the cylinder, because that's the whole point. It comes out 2 or 3 degrees warmer, goes into the cylinder, warms it up, and then the cylinder temperature will come up a degree, but then that'll come up a degree and that'll come up a degree. So that's just how it works. So I'm going to show you how to record the AO numbers once it's up and running. So always take the lock off, and once we've taken the lock off, it's going to be very simple. All we're going to do is we're going to press that button once. Now you've got A0, and we're going to go, oh, I've gone the wrong way, sorry. So we're going to go A0, write 38 down. A1 is 3, A2 is 5, A3 is 42, 24, 38 and 35. That's all I want you to do. You can just forget it now and walk away. It'll all go back to the home screen with no activity, or you can just press the button to go back to the home screen. Leave it now, come back 10 minutes later, but write those numbers down, okay? So every time you have to take the lock off, press that button once, you get onto the AO, and then you start scrolling through and just make a record of them. And then we can see the patterns changing, see the valve moving, see the water diffs coming into operation, and we know this is working properly. If you're ever in doubt, contact us and we'll confirm it with you. Okay, done.